Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. Took me a moment because after an update, everything looked a bit different, so I took some time to get oriented what is what. But it seems to work now. When we go to sleep, then suddenly in the sleep, a dream springs up. In one moment, we are creating a whole world with, with an experience that seems to be so real. We may be in it, in a similar personality as we are here, or in a different personality, in a different form. But when it's there, it appears to be so real. And when the dream is over, we go to sleep again without dream, or wake up and realize, oh, this was just a dream. It wasn't real. And yet the experience was real. The experience was there, and it felt so real. And it was real as an experience. The details we may have made up in our subconscious mind, but it was real as an experience. Now it may happen in the dream that we wake up in the dream and become aware it is a dream, but still the dream continues. And it becomes what is called a lucid dream. Now that changed the whole experience of the dream. Although it's still experienced, the whole attitude changes. And if it was a nightmare, one was afraid of something and then becomes aware it's just a dream. The fear goes. Why? Because it's clear. It's not real. It cannot hurt. That's all that it takes. That little difference to be aware it's a dream while we are experiencing it or whether we are not aware of it. When we are not aware of it, then it appears to be a solid reality. Something makes you laugh, something makes you cry, something makes you to be afraid, something makes you to be in a panic. And when you become aware it's a dream, it doesn't have that power. It still may make you laugh, but it cannot panic you because you understand it is just a dream. Cannot really hurt, no matter what is happening, no matter what turn it takes, the dream, it cannot hurt. Now this life experience, day after day, we are having is not really so much different than the dream experience. It's not exactly the same, but still, it's not as different as we think. We think of this as the reality and that as just a momentary construction in the mind that comes and goes. But this long drawn out dream of a waking world that seems to be so real is similar like the night dream. It's real as an experience, but the whole setup is not as real. It seems to be much more real because it seems to continue. We go to sleep, we come, wake up again in the same world as the same person, day after day, year after year. That makes it appear to be so real. But actually, it's just momentary, a reality that is momentary, a momentary experience. That experience that is there right now is real as an experience, like the experience in the dream is real while we're dreaming. The whole rest we are creating in the mind. The whole story is not as continuous as we think. It's more flashes of experience. And after that, in the mind, in the memory, we connect everything into a seamless continuation, a seamless story. Once we get out of this dream, once we die, leave this dream, it will be similar like waking up from a dream in the night. Oh, the whole story was not real. The whole story was just a setup that we can have experiences. And yet we take it so serious. It seems to be so real that it really hurts people, that it makes us suffer. It can bring us joy for a moment, can bring a lot of trouble. And our moods are being manipulated up and down along with the situations. Once we get out, it's like waking up from a dream. Oh, the whole story wasn't really real. It's real as an experience right now. All the rest is in the mind. The past, the future is all in the mind. It's a memory, it's an anticipation. Right now, we are touching that which makes the experience possible. Now, in the night dream, we can become lucid, becoming aware that it's a dream, and immediately the whole flavor changes. The same thing can happen in this waking dream, in this real life, that we really become aware. Hey, it's not as real as it appears. It's a magic show. It's something that has been created that we can tune into it in order to gain experience. But that which you are is always totally unaffected. It's experiencing it, getting the benefit of the experience, but cannot be hurt. Nothing can really hurt us, what we are really, because it's just an aspect that is projected into this dream reality. But you are timeless, spaceless. You have never been born. You will never die. You just dream right now of being a human, having been born at that time, grown up, the whole story, and eventually you will die. But actually, you are nothing of all that. You are timeless, spaceless, birthless, deathless. We just have gotten so caught up in this dream story that we are not aware of it. And this long, drawn out daydream can also become a lucid dream. We can become aware that this is just a magic show, that it is not as real as it appears. And then we can go for the ride, can go along. And then sometimes the story is sad, sometimes it's terrible, sometimes it's quite okay, sometimes it's tremendous. Sometimes it's real happy story, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's funny. But you are not a victim of this story. You can become aware that everything is a possibility, every situation is a possibility to become more self-aware. That whole play of the emotions, that interaction of the energy, the emotions, the thoughts, manifesting in a physical body. It is every moment is a possibility to learn more nuances, learn more how to deal with energy, how to deal with emotions, how to deal with thoughts in order to make the consciousness open to be expansive. As long as we are identifying with the story, then we are always worried about the story. Often worried about the past, what has happened, what people did to me, or the other hand, the other side, what I did to people, and oh, how could I be like this? Worried about the future, what is going to happen now? Am I going to have enough money? Totally a victim of the dream story. So totally believing into it as a reality, as the reality, that we lose that detachment that we can have when we are aware it is not real. It is just a magic show. It's there to give us the possibility to experience, to learn, to grow, to outgrow certain things. Actually, it's a fantastic possibility. And if we are aware of it, that this is what is happening, then we can go about it playfully, joyously, with an intensity that is there then all the time, with that awareness that here now we are touching that timelessness, that immorality, mortality, that eternity, that timelessness. And then let the play within time, space, appearance go on. Go for the ride. Like a lucid dream, like a long, drawn out lucid dream. Let the dream continue at the same time. We can be aware it's a dream. It's for the benefit of having the possibility of those experiences. We need not be worried about what has happened in the past. We need not be worried what is happening in the future. We can be practical, nothing wrong with that. Be reasonable, practical, from day to day, also plan ahead something that is nothing wrong. What makes it a difficulty, what makes it really draining our energy is always that the tendency is there that we are worrying about it. Oh my God, what maybe if it goes wrong, maybe something bad is going to happen. If we stop doing that, then even in very difficult times, very difficult situations, we can go about it playfully, joyously. And in that clarity, also learn much deeper, much more profound from moment to moment, because we are accepting every moment as a challenge, as a possibility to learn, and not as something terrible that is again happening to the poor little me. Then we learn to be alert and intensive. We don't have to do tremendous things to be intensive. The moment we are consciously in the present, the moment we are touching that timelessness consciously, there is an intensity that keeps on increasing all the time. Let's not waste our time worrying about what has happened in the past. Learn our lessons, yes, it's there as a storehouse of information. We can learn our lessons, but not worrying about what has happened, not worrying about what will happen, maybe. Just be here now. And then we can deal with the practical day-to-day things easier. That doesn't mean we are after that. That's a guarantee that nothing bad is going to happen. Some good things will happen, some bad things will happen, just like before. But we can accept them as they come, deal with them, and let them go, knowing every moment is a possibility to become more profoundly self-aware, more profoundly aware of that mystery that makes the whole thing possible. That's what we are here for, and not to spend our time wrecking our brain what to do with our life, what we have done already. It may be totally wrong. Just learn the lessons from whatever has happened and be here now, and then practically apply whatever knowledge we have. And then it's not difficult. Sometimes things work out nicely, sometimes they don't work out nicely. When they work out nicely, fine, we are ready to accept. When they don't work out nicely, then we can learn to accept them equally. Yes, okay, things haven't worked out. It is just a magic show. It is there to give us the possibility to have that experience. It is there to give us the possibility to see what kind of reactions we are having and how they are manifesting, and learning then to deal with them in such a way that any situation can be turned in something constructive. Can we leave this long drawn out dream as a lucid dream? We experience it as a lucid dream, knowing it is not real, playing as if it was real, going along playfully, knowing no matter what is happening, nothing can really hurt that which you are. And then also the all pervading fear of death will disappear. How could you die? You have not been born. You are timeless. You are prior to time and space. All that can happen is that the dream ends. And then that consciousness that is projected into this dream is withdrawn again, absorbed into that being, that mysterious being that is timeless, spaceless, that is birthless, that is deathless. There's absolutely nothing to be afraid of that. That when that comes along, then it's good. Okay, this lesson is over. Let's proceed. Yeah. When we look out what is happening in the world, one can get very worried. It seems to go from bad to worse. So many negative energies are manifesting and doing all kinds of mischief. One can get very worried, one can be afraid what is going to happen. No matter what is going to happen, it's still just a magic show. It's not as real as it appears. If you are worrying, if you are afraid, you're just draining our precious creative energy in this way instead of being alert here now, accepting every moment as a possibility to learn, to grow, to outgrow. Even if the outlook is terrible, if we remember, hey, it's not as real as it appears, it's a momentary appearance, then the fear not only of that, but the fear of what could happen in the world, what could happen to me in my story, all that becomes irrelevant. Like in a lucid dream, you may have a monster running after you in the dream, and as long as you are dreaming that and you are believing that dream to be reality, then you may be totally terrified. When you become lucid in the dream, then you know there is no monster there. Nothing can hurt you. It's all within the momentary appearance of that story. And then the fear stops and nothing chases you anymore. It helps to remember that keeps the mind open, that keeps the heart open. As long as it is not a direct experience, then the memory helps to remind ourselves, come on, don't take it so serious. It's momentary. It's a story. It's a magic show. It's not as real as it appears. It's a dreamlike experience. If we think like this, then we are opening the heart to that which is and opening the possibility that it can become our own direct experience instead of just a working theory. But learning already, even if it's not a direct experience, to really turn the attention in that direction takes already a lot of the strength, strain, and the heaviness away from it. If we keep on thinking how terrible it is, how terrible it is, how terrible it is, then everything becomes heavier, heavier, unbearable. If we keep reminding ourselves, hey, no matter what is happening. It's momentary. It's a dreamlike appearance. It's not as real as it appears. That heaviness starts to dissolve. For that, we need to have the courage to do so. Because funny enough, the mind that has been formed in this world, in the way people think in this world, the way people function in this world, the mind is afraid of freedom. The mind is afraid of letting go of all the worries. The mind is afraid. Well, the mind, I'm saying the mind, but it's that person we think we are. I, that me, that has now been living for a long time in a certain form and is convinced that I am this form, I am this person, knows somewhere something is totally wrong. I've been identifying here with something that I am not, that is just momentary expression of myself. But then the habit is so strong that it has become, in a certain way, comfortable, even if it's painful, often, even if it's a struggle, often. And funny enough, then there is fear to let that go, fear of freedom. So it needs courage to remind ourselves to think like this, not to get just overwhelmed by what is happening in the world or in my personal life. It needs courage to accept, okay, circumstances seem to be terrible, but actually it is not as real as it appears. Actually, it is a dreamlike appearance, momentary. And I am not a victim within this dream. I am the one who is dreaming. I am that which makes this dream possible. If we learn to think like this, then we are opening the heart, then we are opening the door that it can become our own direct experience instead of just being a theory. It's worth that little trouble to remind ourselves. It's worth more than anything else we can imagine. Within the story, we can imagine so many things that is worth to struggle for, to aspire to accumulate, to gain, to have, to possess. But nothing is in any way comparable to learn to be conscious of what is going on, to be free from that illusion of being such a limited little personality. Nothing that that limited little personality can aspire to is anyway in anywhere near as worth than being free from that illusion. The personality may still continue as an expression in this story, but we know we're playing a role. It's temporary. We need not take it so serious. Okay, I stop now ranting away about it all by myself. I'm asking you, my friends, is there anyone who would like to come in? Hello, Maria.
Hello, Werner. Thank you
Hello.
so much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
my earphones, I need to have new earphones, I think. They sometimes don't work so well, but I can hear you. Yes.
lovely. Thank you. It feels very soothing what you are, your introduction. And my question is about the Bhagavad Gita. I'm
Mhm.
reading now again the Bhagavad Gita. I love the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata. And I was very touched by one of the verses where Krishna says something like, it's connected to what you were saying. Um, he says, fix yourself in truth with no concern about material gain or safety. Establish yourself establish in the self.
Right.
And it touched me very deeply because it mentions no concern about material gain and um, safety, which are two big ones.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it was, when these things touch you, it's like this sense of freedom of saying, oh, wow, I want to be there. I want to be there. Um, because I think I've mentioned it in other sharings before, but a big one for me, probably the biggest process I remember as an adult, is being the fear of lack. And the paradox in this is that I have never lacked anything. All my materials needs have been covered since childhood, well beyond the basics. Had very good education, very, traveling, all sorts of things, always a warm house, more than enough clothes, food. So it's not true that I have lacked, but the thoughts of lack, the fear of lack, has been, it was part of my growing up, very, very much in family surroundings and so on.
Yeah.
And I suppose I carry it as well from past lives, who knows. But it's like I have a lot of members in my community, my meditation community, that have serious health issues. For me, it's never been health. It's been the cause of anxiety. So in the same book, the person who does the teacher who does the commentary, he talks about Buddhi yoga. I had not heard this term Buddhi yoga before. I understand now that it's connected to Yana, and he says that the intellect is stronger than the mind, and that in Buddhi yoga is about gathering I mean, absorbing the truth, the knowledge intellectually, because otherwise the mind, whatever you, in a way I understand, is whatever you believe to be truth, your mind works accordingly. So if you think that money, he gives the example, which is very graphic and for me very helpful. He says, if you think that money is going to give you safety, you are going to desire money, only to find out later on that that is not bringing you a sense of safety. So, and when he gave that example, I thought, oh God, this is the story of my life, So it means that the belief I am giving truth to something which is not truth. That is that the material, money, the coins, the notes, the numbers in the bank, is I need to pursue that in order to feel safe, in order to be at ease in life. So what that led me to do a bit of reflection on what is the knowledge that I need, the truth, what aspects of the truth do I need right now? And I felt to me the deepest is to really experience that God is love. if I can embrace with the whole of my being that God is love, then I can relax because I know that I'm taken care of. But the idea within my being, there is in corners of my mind, still is this idea that God is judging, that God is harsh. You know,
Yeah.
is a part of the Catholic upbringing that I have to be submissive in order to please Him, and it's a him, it's a male
Yes.
energy.
With a long beard.
Yes, and a finger pointing. So when I was reflecting on this, and as I'm talking to you, obviously all this doesn't make sense. It looks like cartoonish and so on. But once we finish the satsang, I start with my normal life. The mind starts, kicking with that. So my question for you is, I felt that it would be for me good to contemplate deeply in this God is love, because and obviously my teacher always said, you thank you to God, God, there was nothing of that kind about God judging. But when I do gratitude to God, I have to think.
Mhm.
I have to think. I examine and I think, oh my God, I've had a beautiful day. The relationships, food is so many things to be grateful for. But I realize that it's like I have to make an effort to think about it.
Mhm.
So I mean, the bottom line is I would love to cultivate this truth that God is love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
and
you
of
could.
course, it's not an intellectual exercise. It's not that you have to somehow intellectually convince yourself enough that God is love that finally you believe it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's more that you just open your heart. You stop having imaginations what God is. Let go of the old picture that is there, even if they say uh, God has no form, they have quite painted a strong form in
Yeah.
people's mind. Somebody, somebody there, and one has to be very careful because when he gets angry, it's no fun. To become aware of that aspect of God, that God is love. And it is one of the three aspects. God is consciousness, God is energy, and God is love. It's not that we have to somehow convince ourselves and believe it, and then finally we can feel it. It's more that we start to open the heart and really just feel that love for God ourselves in our own heart. Feel that presence, that divine presence all the time, instead of thinking, okay, God is out there and maybe he sees me, maybe he does, maybe I get away with it. But that that every moment that divine presence is there. And then learn to be like a child, just like a little child towards the mother. You just open your heart and have faith that after all, you're safe because the mother is there looking after you. And the more you just feel your love, that love yourself, the more you become aware that love comes in torrents all the time if we don't block it. It's not that we have to convince ourselves, it's by practicing it ourselves, by practicing, by reminding ourselves to just be open, open like a child, innocent, and pour our love towards that divinity, that it's coming there back all the time, that it's there also when we are blocking it off, that it's there in any circumstance it cannot be absent, but simply we have to learn to open up our perception to that. And it's not working as a intellectual exercise. It's not that if I'm thinking it through enough, then finally maybe it may click and then I get it that God is love. It's more that you feel it gradually, that feeling becomes stronger and stronger, that you become aware that divine presence is always there. It cannot possibly be absent, that without that, no experience is possible. It is love, it is consciousness, it is energy. And you can open up to any aspect favorably to the other aspects. But if we do that sincerely, then all the three aspects will come in and come together, and our experience becomes full of it. Just somehow find the courage to commune, to communicate. If you want to talk, you communicate, or otherwise to just commune with that divinity, to just feel connected, to feel the presence. And the more you are opening yourself to that, the more that from that side it comes by itself, that that presence is being felt ever stronger and stronger. It's absolutely nothing that we have to be afraid of. That is entirely a human construction. That is entirely something that the organized religion has created in order to keep people uh, under control. It's more a political instrument than really a spiritual instrument. How could how could there be like such things like revenge, that people have been doing bad, so they have to be punished? From that perspective, where there is only divinity and everything is an expression of that divinity. So consciously open your heart. That means consciously open up to that awareness of that divine presence. Remind yourself, okay, here now, I can feel God. That's all you have to do. You open up to that, and then as you do so, it becomes more and more a reality that you are experiencing, and then by itself it starts to grow and to blossom.
Thank you. There are two things in what you say, two things that come up is when you say this thing about the image of God,
Mm,
because I am very visual. My way of learning is very visual.
mm,
So images, and in fact, I mean, my practice is looking at the picture of my teacher or Ganesha, Shiva. That's what, most of the time, that's what moves me.
mm.
And eh, the image of God that, the one that is easier for me is God as creator.
Yeah.
Because it's obvious, there are these trillions of galaxies, of stars, the moon, the sky, Mother Nature is like, wow. I mean, this just is so extraordinary. The block is on the feeling love.
Mm.
That's where the, and one of the things I need to say it because this is so deeply ingrained in my mind is one sentence that I grew up with hearing from time to time was, God will punish you without a stick or a stone. So you won't even feel it,
Yeah,
but he will be punishing you invisibly.
yeah.
I mean, it's a horrendous movie.
Yes.
So to shift from that to the trust that there is love,
Mm.
What I experienced, the peak experience for me of opening the heart was after 2 or 3 years of doing intensively the meditation I'm practicing now. Our teacher was teaching us to spin, and we were doing a lot of spinning, very intense. And I came home after staying in the ashram, and just out of the blue, I was spinning, and suddenly I felt, to me, it was Jesus' energy. It was the light of Christ opening my heart and feeling it was like the love that I had never ever experienced before. All and probably milliseconds. But this is like at the level of experience, it was like the moment where I felt this is love. This
Mm.
is the love. And nothing has compared to that. Nothing. Neither before nor after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot somehow produce willfully an experience like this. But when you do what I said before, then you are making yourself available that this is happening more and more frequently, that you become more and more aware. And then, even if it's not that intense, overwhelming experience, that even in your normal day-to-day activity, you can more and more become aware of that divine presence that is never, ever for a single moment absent. And yes, of course, people also like forms. So, like from the Western religions, the Eastern religions are often criticized because of all their forms they have, their divine forms. But like a Hindu, they have so many forms of God in Hinduism. But somehow deep down, the Hindu knows that it's an expression of that formlessness. It's
Yeah.
an expression, and if it helps to connect with that formlessness through the form, then there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. We don't have to limit God to any form, but if a form helps us to remember the divine, then we can also hold on to that form. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much, Berna. Thank you. Thank you.
You
I
are
really
most welcome.
appreciate
Mm.
your feedback. Thank you.
Hari
Bye.
Om, Hari Om,
Bye.
Hari Om. Is there anyone else who would like to come?
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Nelly. Mm.
Thank you what you said in the beginning and what you talked with Maria. It resonates me very much. In the beginning, you said about death, that a person just wakes up after a nightmare when he dies,
Yeah.
understands that everything is not so real. And it reminds me when my mother died and when I saw her body, it was a feeling that she didn't die really, that she just left somehow. This and uh, and I felt something pleasant in the room. I remember like she's here and tells it's okay, it's everything is fine, everything is good. It was interesting feeling for me, something light, something very pleasant.
Mm.
Uh, and I mm, went through this situation rather easy. So I managed with that. I gave my feelings to come up and didn't stick in them. Um, and I just surprised how my mind works, that I can accept rather normal the situation of when my close person went away, but sometimes I stick on other things that are not so serious, not so important at all, or even not real, but I stick on them. And today I had my meditation and I felt some anxious, some worries came up again in me, and I was watching them. It was like a storm in the glass of water, nothing serious, but I I felt like this very strong. I was watching my breath and tried to connect with God, and then uh, I one phrase came to me. I take it as a blessing from God, I think. So one phrase came just as a strength of calmness. Just this phrase, strength of calmness.
A
And
strength
I
of
just
what?
began
Of?
to meditate. Strength of calmness,
Ah,
calmness,
calmness.
calm,
Calmness.
calm,
Yes, yes.
calmness,
Yes.
calmness, yes, calmness. Yes, and it gave me so real calm inside me, and I stopped to feel these worries inside me. I felt some maybe some connection with Arunachala. There's this like something big came and gave me support, and it came to me an image of Buddha because his so calmness comes from him for me. So it really helped me to relax, not um, um, how to say, not absolutely relaxed, but rather more relaxed
Mm.
than I felt before. And I was felt a lot of gratitude for that. And I sometimes get some instruments like this. They help me so much, and but they help me for some days, and then they don't work. So I understand that should not hold it like, oh yes, I understand everything, how to become calm. I understand that I should not attach to that, but just be grateful that it helped me today. So I wanted to share you this.
Very nice. And so
Maybe you
you don't have to worry that sometimes you are sticking to things that, on the other hand, you were capable of accepting and letting go your mother because it felt right. Because other things we are hooking on and taking serious without being aware that we are making them bigger and bigger and getting more entangled. And then, of course, sometimes it's not so easy to disentangle again. Whereas it obviously there with your mother, there was such a strong experience that there was no space for these kinds of silly mechanisms. But in the mind, we can create a lot of silly mechanisms that makes us less capable of just accepting and letting go and being detached. But when it comes, yes, then you deal with it and open your heart, and then those moments of grace happen like you're describing now. Then suddenly you feel something comes and really supports you. All what I say again and again, we cannot really do it, but we have to do something about it. And what we can do is make ourselves available, that we are here, awake and open. And that is the invitation that these moments that you're describing now can happen, and that they can happen more and more frequently. We cannot produce it. So you cannot do it, but you can be ready. You can make yourself available. And if you do the opposite, what we can do, we can prevent them by being stubbornly involved in our mind, by being stubborn, holding on stubbornly to me, I, me, mine, and I'm right, and being like an angry little child. By just being as consciously open to that divinity we are making ourselves available. How we are doing that being open doesn't matter. In one way or another, just bring the attention back to that and be open. That much we are asked to do, that much basically we can do, and the rest is happening by itself. And then these nice moments like you described, they just happen.
Yes, Werner, thank you. And another thing I want to add, today I was sitting and this phrase helped me to relax, but I felt some tensions in my body, but I felt very pleasant feelings and rather very good. But then I decided to walk a little to have some break. I walked around and came and sat again. And today and before I noticed that it happens when I have break and come and sit again. I feel more relaxation than when I sit for a long time, try to relax, try to watch. So it's interesting. I came and even I didn't need this phrase, the strength of calm. It disappeared for some moment, and I began to feel this relaxation in my body. So, like everything goes away, and for some moments, no thoughts, and even this phrase was not needed for me, but my mind desperately decided to wanted to catch something. How how to stay without? Where is my strength of calmness or something like this? And it always wants to catch. I can't be in this condition for a long time, only some seconds, and then it's difficult to stay, but very good uh, feelings. Yes, sensations. Very good.
Right, we are always ready with the mind to create a problem where there is no problem. Huh? and to
Yeah.
and instead of just being with what is, then think, but that was there, it should be there, and something like that. And like that, we are preventing from being in that natural flow. But as we go along, so we learn. And apart from that, yeah, if you feel when you are sitting, it's helps you then in between to get up, walk around and sit again, that it's easier than just go on and on, forcing yourself to sit. By all means, do that. For many people, this is much more advisable than to just sit on and on and on for a long time.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome.
Thank
Hariom.
you.
Hariom.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Is there anybody else who would like to come?
Hi, Werner.
Hello, Anna.
Hello. I have a question. When there's something that I feel I really want in life and I don't get it, and I can feel that I'm not getting anywhere wanting this very much, but also I cannot let go. Like I try to let go, but is it just about time? Like that you just practice to let go of it, or can you give some advice how to deal with that?
Well, something that we have wanted for a long time is not so easy to let go. That, but what you can change is that the importance it has. That idea when we want something very much, the idea is always, if I'm getting that, then I will be happier. That's what the motivation is about. And then when you really analyze the situation, look at the situation, you can imagine, okay, my desire is fulfilled. What does really change? Does it really make me happier? For the moment, yes. When we have a strong desire and we struggle and struggle and struggle, and then finally the desire is fulfilled, then and feel so happy. Why? Because for some time we just let go. For some time we are not torturing ourselves. I want something, I want something, something should be different, something should be, but just let go. And in that letting go, one feels happy because in that letting go, that natural happiness that is always there has a chance to come to the surface. We are not really happy directly because we of that object, that desire that is being fulfilled, but that has just helped us at least for some time to relax, let go, and that natural happiness is manifesting. Now, if a desire is too strong, you maybe have to somehow continue until you get it, but you can get not obsessed by it. That you become observe in your daily life. When you feel happy, when something makes you happy, what is really happening? Where is this happiness coming from? Is it really from a desire that I have fulfilled, or is it because of that fulfillment of the desire? For a moment, I just let go. And the more you observe, you will become aware that happiness that I have been chasing, that I have been getting, that has been given, has not come from anywhere. It comes out of myself. And the more you become aware of that, the less important are then any desires. And then eventually you may just drop that desire and think, it's not really important that it's getting fulfilled, or you may keep it up. But even then, become more and more aware that happiness I'm looking for is not coming from there. It's not being brought and served by the fulfillment of that thing that I wanted all along. I am the source of my happiness. I am the source of my fulfillment. If you observe your daily life, if you observe what is going on when you are just living, you become more and more aware that which we are looking for, hoping to find somewhere, it's already here. We just are not aware of it. We have too much mental stuff fabricated, cultivated, that is like a barrier between what would be natural and what we are experiencing. But if we are observing, then we learn to do that less and less, and we can become more and more natural. And in that natural state, that awareness is there, that happiness is already here. It comes out of our own self. And so suddenly it's not more important whether desires are being fulfilled or not. But it's not an option now. You said you had it for a long time and you wanted it for a long time. So if you would try to push it away, then you just somehow suppress it. And then it keeps on nagging all the time. So you can also let that desire stand there, but at the same time become more and more aware. Desire fulfillment is not making me happy. For a moment, it appears to be so. It doesn't last. After that, that old way of functioning is coming back. I'm creating my tensions again, and that leaves me again with a sense of not being fulfilled and not being happy, something missing. And that something missing can never be filled up with something, with something from outside. That something missing is an illusion because it's not missing at all. We are just not aware of that treasure that is already there all the time. Hmm.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Hario, Hario. There anybody else who would like to come? Hello, Andreas.
So, what do you feel when you hear about all the people that die in the news? There are a lot of reports about people dying, but in the wars that are happening.
Yes.
I would guess that you have a different attitude than the average person towards it, right? That you, because sometimes you say like the death is not a problem for the person that dies. It's the problem. Most of the times, it's a problem for the person who stayed back.
Yes. Right, right. I mean, whatever my attitude, even if I don't think that is a terrible thing, it doesn't justify to do horrible things. It doesn't give a it doesn't give a green light to the bad guys to do all these horrible things. But you're right. I have a different attitude than many people about all the deaths because dying is not a problem. Dying is not a terrible thing. Like I said in the beginning, it's just like waking up from a dream. And we become aware, oh, whole story was just a dream-like momentary appearance. So the one who's died is all right. She is all right. That being is all right. But still, on the relative level, that doesn't justify to treat people like they are being treated. Because, I mean, there is an evil intention behind that. And an evil intention is against the natural way of existing. And what is against the natural way of existing is destructive and creates pain and suffering. And that to induce that consciously is asking for big troubles for those who do so. They will reap the fruit of it somehow or other, and not like a punishing God with a long beard that is waiting to punish them, but simply what we are sending out is somehow coming back. The fact that I'm not thinking dying is terrible is not justifying war in any way. It's not justifying destructive action that are being done. It's not natural. And to be in harmony with what is, with divinity, with what you are, is to be natural. And to go against being natural is always limiting consciousness, doing the opposite of what we are here for. We came here in order to give consciousness a possibility to blossom, to flourish, to expand. And all what we call evil actions is doing the opposite. It's beings who have separated their conscious experience so much from their natural state that they have turned away from love, that aspect of divinity. And of course, this leaves a gap. Something is totally missing, because without that aspect of love, of that, of reality, there is not a joyousness, there is not that happiness present. And then what people try to do, who turn away from that, is to fill that with something. And that is by being destructive, by trying to control, by being in charge and over other people. And whatever they are trying, it's never working, but still they try. And this is wrong. And it's good that many people turn the other way, connecting with the light, connecting with that which is harmonious. But nevertheless, those people who die, it's not that they are suffering because of that. They may have suffered before they died, because the circumstances, and they were totally identified with their circumstances. But once they are dying, they are out of it.
Yeah, I thought this to hear about this might take out a little bit of the sting that you, like the sadness that you feel when you always hear the news and you think that is such an unnecessary thing. What is happening right now?
Of course, all evil is unnecessary. But somehow it has been in this manifestation, in this relative appearance, very much involved. That negativity, the destructive aspect, for very long time on this level. And it is now basically on the way out. It's a time of transition. It's being chased out. But before it lets go, that negativity is holding on to and influencing as much as it can, hoping to get total control for not being chased away. The outcome is still the same. Eventually it will collapse, it has to go. But until then, it seems that we are going through some rough times. And there it's good in this time to remember, after all, this is temporary. We came here to have confrontations, to learn, to grow, not to be taken so serious. They are momentary. And if you look at that, of the whole story like this, then even the terrible things that we are seeing, they are not becoming less terrible because of that. But you are not attached to them. Like you stop being attached to your personal little not pleasant things that come and go. You stop being attached to the global unpleasant things that come and go.
Could you explain more how the bad karma comes back to the people that do the evil?
I mean, people can never, who do such things, they can never be happy. They hope they get a certain sense of satisfaction, fulfillment. When they are at the place that they pull the strings to create a lot of destruction. And momentary, that can give them a kick. They can fool themselves, but deep down, they are hurting themselves. We are all connected. We cannot hurt anyone without hurting ourselves. And so deep down, something is hurting. And that hurt somehow will continue to manifest. And it will maybe a being who is involved in that take quite a struggle to work themselves eventually out of that hurt. How this is going to manifest, that's anybody's guess.
Yeah, because in Buddhism, the Buddha doesn't explain karma very detailed, but it's talked about like it's seeds that it's in the consciousness, and that these bad seeds might be difficult to get out and or like bloom at a certain point, and then you have to deal with the results.
Right. But karma is on the manifest level. It is within time and space. There is that law, of course, and effect. And what you're sending out, it's like the universe is reflecting. Maybe immediately, maybe not immediately. But your being, what you are, is free of karma. It's here, now, timeless. Here, now, there is no karma. And if you learn to connect with that, you are stepping out of karma. Within manifestation, as long as one's form appears, there may be karmic stuff coming along. But if you are out of it, you are not really hurting, even if it's painful karma. So the way out of karma is here now, to live in conscious touch with that which is. And there is not even a seed left on that level, a seed of karma. The karma is there within the manifestation. It's the law of cause and effect. But prior to that, in this timelessness now, here is no karma. You have no karma.
May I change the subject?
Yes?
I'm sick now a little bit. Like every spring, when it gets hot for the first time, I get sick. Like an inflammation of the tonsils, even though I don't have tonsils anymore, it gets very inflamed there, and it can swallow, and it's painful. It's not so bad like it used to be, but basically it feels a little bit like a very bad viral infection. But a lot of times there is no infection. It's just like something energetic in a way, like. And I'm when it was worse, I was like in a very bad mood a lot of times. But this time it's not so bad. But I still want your advice on how to relate to it. Should I like feel into it, or just like to try to remain equanimous?
Well, to remain equanimous is always good. At the same time, if it's too strong, you cannot just ignore it. If you are reduced and you're low on energy, then you cannot just ignore it. Just somebody asked me this question a few days ago. She said, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick. and I used to be never so sick, but now I'm living in the world and connecting with the world, and I'm sick. And I wrote to her, well, first of all, it's not good to keep on repeating to yourself that I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick, because there you're giving more reality to it. You make it more concrete. When you can see, observe, okay, the instrument has difficulties, but at the same time, you basically turn your attention to that aspect in you that is not affected, that doesn't know any disease. Even turning in that direction is already a very good way of dealing with the situation, that you are not overwhelmed by it, and actually it's giving the instrument the space to heal easier. If we keep on thinking, oh God, I'm sick, there we are adding, we are making it more into a concrete reality. But if we are not giving it that concrete reality by thinking about it all the time, but just observing that it's there, but at the same time, turning the attention to that which is not affected, because that is there all the time, then that disease, whatever it is, where it comes from, it can much less hold on, and you give the body, mind, the energetic space to heal easier.
And should you turn like into it, how it feels and presents itself at that moment? Like
Sorry, I
it
didn't
is.
quite get it. What
I
did you
mean,
say?
like, should you like turn into the how it feels at that moment, like the if it's painful or if it's my chest is congested, should I like turn into it and yeah, feel into that? Because it's not so easy, because naturally I shy away from
Ah,
un,
it's
unpleasant
right.
emotion.
It's not that you have to turn into it and try to fix yourself there and do something. It's more that you basically learn to relax all the rest that is not so much affected. But then you can like go a little into it, and if you feel it's too much, you rather withdraw into a space where you are more at ease, and then you go a little into it and you withdraw, and like that, the if you rather relax everything else in the body you can, then it's helping that part of the body that is affected to more relax. You cannot somehow force your way in and then be there and then clenching your teeth, try to relax that and let that go. But you can relax as good as you can, whatever you can relax. And from that space, you can go touch a bit that affected space more consciously, but if it's getting too much, rather withdraw, but then touch it again, but keep on consciously relaxing and feeling relatively okay wherever you can feel relatively okay.
Yeah. And basically, I have to accept it the way it is, right? Not trying to make it go away too much.
Right, then when it's there, then you accept it as a right now, this is the experience, as a fact of experience, not with weakness, not defeated, not think, oh, this is, I cannot do a damn thing about it. It's, just a victim, hopeless victim year after year of that thing. But all right, there it's there again. But after all, I'm not a victim of that. I'm prior to that. You are free from disease in what you are. Connect with that as good as you can in spite of that, but no need of denying it as an experience, a momentary experience. but not making it more concrete and heavy by thinking, oh, it's terrible how sick I am, it's terrible how bad I feel, it's terrible how my chest feels, it's terrible. If we repeat thinking like that, then it's getting worse and worse. Accept the experience, but with strength, not defeated. All right, doesn't feel so comfortable, but somehow you're getting through of it. It started, it's there for a moment, it will go away. But you are prior for that. You are not in what you are not really affected by it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
This whole world is a magic show. It's not as real as it appears. We project into it in order to gain experience, to learn, to grow, to outgrow, to let consciousness be what it naturally is, expansive and ever more expansive. All that is happening is a challenge. The nice thing, the good things, they are also challenging. Because if you are getting attached to it, sooner or later, the disappointment comes and the loss is felt. The negative things, the not easy things to bear, they are challenges. We can learn to let them come, deal with them, let them go, accepting them as they are, remembering you're here to learn. You are here to have all these challenges, all these confrontations. In this way, we become deeper and deeper aware of our essence, of that divinity that is expressing itself in ever new and new ways. Essentially remaining the same, and yet the experience can expand and expand, and there's no limit to it. Projecting into a story like this world is a very intensive, like an intensive retreat to have the possibility of having lots of challenges. If we resist because we have forgotten, that's why we are here. If we resist what is happening, then everything becomes very, very difficult. If we learn to accept, and as I just said to Andreas, not accept in weakness, not in defeat, but just accept with strength. All right, this is the experience, and then accept to deal with it, learn to relax instead of getting all worked up, then everything can positively contribute to what we are here for, without creating all that heavy burden that we can create in the mind. And it's not necessary. Naturally, you are at ease, you are at peace. That happiness, that love of existence is simply there. It doesn't have to be created. I wish you all well. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.